Welcome back to our channel Coins Collection, where we explore the fascinating stories behind coins from around the world. In today's episode, Top 4. We will uncover the history, design, and collectible value of the 1995 New Pence coin of the United Kingdom, featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This small but important coin carries a rich history of British coinage reform, cultural symbolism, and numismatic value. So, let's dive into the story of the 1995 New Pence coin. Part 1. The background of the 5 New Pence coin. To understand the 1990 issue, we first need to trace the origins of the 5 New Pence coin itself. In 1971, the United Kingdom underwent a major monetary reform known as decimalisation. Before this reform, British currency followed a complex system where £1 was divided into 20 shillings, and each shilling was worth 12 pence, making a total of 240 pence in a pound. Decimalisation simplified this by making the pound consist of 100 new pence. The 5 New Pence coin was introduced as part of this new decimal system. It was originally equivalent in value to the pre-decimal 1 shilling coin, and in fact, the two coins circulated together for many years. By the time we reached 1990, the coin had already gone through significant changes, including a major redesign that would affect its size and appearance. Part 2. The shrinking of the 5 pence. The original 5 New Pence coin, issued in 1968 before full decimalisation, was 30 millimeters in diameter, making it a fairly large coin for its value. Over time, this became impractical. As smaller values lost purchasing power, coins of such size became unnecessarily bulky for everyday use. So in 1990, the Royal Mint introduced a smaller version of the 5 pence coin, reducing its diameter from 23.59 millimeters to just 18.0 millimeters. This redesign made the coin much easier to handle and more in line with its actual value in circulation. The 1990 issue was especially significant because it was the first year of the smaller 5 pence coin, marking the beginning of a new chapter in British decimal coinage. Part 3. The design of the coin. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1995 New Pence coin. The obverse, Queen Elizabeth II. On the front, or obverse, we see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. By 1990, the coin carried the third portrait of the Queen, designed by sculptor Raphael Maclou. In this portrait, Queen Elizabeth II is shown wearing the George IV state diadem, a crown set with diamonds and pearls that she traditionally wore to the state opening of Parliament. The portrait projects elegance and dignity, reflecting the stability of her long reign. Around the portrait, we find the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD. This translates to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The reverse, the Badge of Scotland. On the reverse, designed by Christopher Ironside, we see the Badge of Scotland, which is a thistle royally crowned. The thistle has long been a symbol of Scotland, representing both resilience and national pride. Beneath the design, the value is clearly stated as 5 pence. This design continued the tradition of using national emblems on coins, linking each denomination to different parts of the United Kingdom. Part 4. Metal composition and specifications. The 1995 New Pence coin was made of cupronickel, which is an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Here are the specifications: diameter, 18.0 millimeters, weight, 3.25 grams, metal, cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Edge, milled. This smaller, lighter version replaced the earlier, larger 5 pence, which was demonetized in 1990. Part 5. Collectability and value. Now comes the question every coin enthusiast wants to know: what is the value of the 1995 New Pence coin today? The answer depends on several factors, including condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. The 1990 issue was not rare, as millions were produced for circulation. Therefore, circulated examples typically hold only face value, which is 5 pence in the UK. However, uncirculated coins or those in brilliant uncirculated sets and proof sets can be worth more. Collectors especially prize coins that are in pristine, mint condition. On average, a 1995 pence in uncirculated condition may be valued between £1 to £3, depending on quality. Proof versions can sometimes fetch slightly higher prices. While it is not considered a rare or highly valuable coin, its significance lies in the fact that it was the first year of the reduced size 5 pence, making it historically important for collectors of modern British coinage. Part 6. the coin's place in numismatic history. The 1995 pence coin marks a pivotal moment in Britain's coinage history. It reflects the continuing evolution of the decimal system. As coins were adjusted to meet the practical needs of the public, collectors today view it not only as a piece of currency but also as a milestone in the modernization of British money. The coin also reminds us of how currency reflects cultural identity. With the thistle symbolizing Scotland and the Queen's portrait symbolizing national unity, the design ties together tradition and modern practicality. Part 7. Interesting facts. Here are a few interesting facts about the 1995 pence coin. 1. Demonetization of the large 5p. The older, larger 5 pence coins were withdrawn from circulation in 1990, meaning the small-size coin became the only legal 5p in use. 2. Part of a larger reform, the reduction in size was part of a broader plan by the Royal Mint to make coins more practical. Later, in 1992, the 10 pence coin was also reduced in size. 3. Common in circulation, unlike many collectible coins, the 1995 pence was widely used and remains fairly easy to find in circulation, at least in the years following its release. 4. Still legal tender, even though it is over 3 decades old, the coin remains legal tender in the UK today. The 1995 new pence coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II may not be the most valuable coin in monetary terms, but it holds a special place in numismatic history. As the first year of the smaller-sized 5 pence, it represents a major step in the modernization of British coinage. Its elegant design, featuring the Queen's dignified portrait and the proud Scottish thistle, captures both national heritage and the practical needs of a changing economy. For collectors, owning this coin is less about its financial worth and more about its historical significance. It is a reminder of how coins evolve, reflecting the society and culture of their time. So, if you come across a 1995 pence coin, hold on to it, not just as small change, but as a little piece of British history. White heavy checkmark. And that wraps up our deep dive into the 1995 new pence coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about coins from around the world. Next coin. The story of the 1976 Australian 10-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This small silver-colored coin might not look like much at first glance, but it carries with it a rich history, symbolic design, and an interesting place in Australia's currency system. By the end of this video, you'll know all about its background, design, mintage, and most importantly, its value to collectors today. The birth of decimal currency in Australia. To understand the 1976 Australian 10-cent coin, we first need to go back to 1966. Before this year, Australia used the pound, shillings, and pence system, which was inherited from Britain. But on February 14, 1966, Australia switched to the decimal system, introducing dollars and cents, which was easier for everyday transactions and more in line with international standards. The 10-cent coin was introduced as part of this new decimal currency system. At that time, it replaced the 1 shilling coin, which had the same size and today, we'll take a closer look at a classic British coin, the 10 new pence coin from 1980, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This coin has a unique place in UK numismatic history, and by the end of this video, you'll know its background, design, mintage details, and current value in the collector's market. So let's get started. Globe showing Europe-Africa background and history. To understand the 1980 10 new pence coin, we first need to step back in time. In 1971, the United Kingdom went through one of the biggest changes in its monetary system, the move to decimalisation. Before decimalisation, Britain used the old pounds, shillings, and pence system, where 1 pound was equal to 20 shillings, and each shilling was 12 pence. That made 1 pound equal to 240 pence, a complicated system compared to today. When decimalisation arrived in February 1971, the new system changed everything. 1 pound was redefined as 100 new pence. This meant that coins had to be redesigned and issued in new denominations. One of the coins introduced was the 10 new pence coin, which replaced the old 2 shilling coin but kept the same value. This was done so that people could adjust more easily to the new decimal system. By 1980, the 10 new pence coin was already a well-established part of everyday British life. It was struck in copper-nickel and was one of the larger coins in circulation at the time. The obverse, Queen Elizabeth II on the front of the coin, also known as the obverse, we see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. The portrait used in 1980 was designed by Arnold Machin, a well-known sculptor. This design had been in use since 1968 and showed a youthful queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a piece of jewelry that was a wedding gift to Queen Mary in 1893. Around the portrait, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.D. This stands for Elizabeth II, Dei Gratia Regina, Fidei Defensor, which translates from Latin to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This title reflects her role as monarch and as the head of the Church of England. The reverse, the design of the lion. Now let's look at the reverse, or back, of the coin. The 1980 10 new pence features a majestic crowned lion, a powerful symbol of England and the British monarchy. The lion has long been a symbol of courage, strength, and pride, and on this coin it is shown standing upright, wearing the crown of St. Edward. Above the lion is the denomination, new pence, and beneath it the number 10. This reverse design was created by Christopher Ironside, a respected British artist and designer responsible for many of the decimal coin designs. Specifications of the coin. Here are the official details of the 1980 10 new pence coin. Country, United Kingdom. Year of issue, 1980. Denomination, 10 new pence. Composition, copper nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Weight, 11.31 grams. Diameter, 28.5 millimeters. Shape, round edge, milled, reeded. This large size made the coin easy to identify, but eventually, the coin was considered too bulky for regular use. Later changes. The 1980 10 new pence coin belongs to the large size series, which was minted between 1968 and 1981. In 1982, the inscription on the coin was changed from new pence to simply 10 pence. Then, in 1992, the coin was made smaller and lighter to make it more convenient to carry. The new version had a reduced diameter of 24.5 mm and weighed 6.5 grams. So, the 1980 version we're discussing today is part of the original, larger series. Coins that are no longer produced for circulation. Mintage figures. The 1980 10 new pence coin was not a rare issue. In fact, it was minted in large numbers for everyday circulation. The Royal Mint struck 88,092,000 coins in 1980, making it widely available at the time. However, while it may not be rare in terms of production, surviving examples in top condition are much harder to find. Most coins were used heavily in circulation, which means they picked up scratches, marks, and general wear over the years. Value of the 1980 10 new pence coin. Now let's talk about what everyone wants to know, the value. The value of the 1980 10 new pence coin depends on its condition and whether it has any errors or special qualities. Circulated examples. Most coins you'll find in circulation today are worth their face value, 10 pence, or slightly more to collectors, around 20 pence to £1. Uncirculated coins. Coins that were never used and remain in mint condition can sell for £2 to £5. Proof sets. Some 1980 10 new pence coins were struck in proof quality for collectors. These coins, with their mirror-like surfaces, can be worth £5 to £10 or more, depending on demand. So, while the coin is not extremely rare, it does hold more than face value for collectors who want examples of the larger, pre-1992 10 pence series. Occasionally, error coins from this period can surface, such as misstrikes, off-center strikes, or coins with planchet flaws. Such error coins can sell for much higher prices, sometimes reaching £50 to £100 or more, depending on the rarity and severity of the error. Collecting the coin. The 1980 10 new pence coin is popular among collectors for several reasons. 1. It represents an important stage in Britain's decimalisation history. 2. It is part of the original, larger-sized series that is no longer in use. 3. It features the Arnold Machin portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which is a collector's favorite. 4. It has a classic lion design by Christopher Ironside, one of the iconic images of British coinage. Many collectors enjoy building complete sets of decimal coins from 1971 onwards, and the 1980 10 new pence is a key piece in that collection. The 1980 10 new pence coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II may not be the rarest coin in British history, but it carries with it a rich story of change, tradition, and national identity. It symbolizes the transition from the old money system to the modern decimal system and showcases the artistry of designers like Arnold Machin and Christopher Ironside. For collectors, it's an affordable and historically significant coin to own, especially in higher grades or proof condition. So next time you come across one of these coins, take a closer look. It's not just 10 pence, it's a piece of British history. Next coin. The story of the 1976 Australian 10-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This small silver-colored coin might not look like much at first glance, but it carries with it a rich history, symbolic design, and an interesting place in Australia's currency system. By the end of this video, you'll know all about its background, design, mintage, and most importantly, its value to collectors today. The birth of decimal currency in Australia. To understand the 1976 Australian 10-cent coin, we first need to go back to 1966. Before this year, Australia used the pound, shillings, and pence system, which was inherited from Britain. But on February 14, 1966, Australia switched to the decimal system, introducing dollars and cents, which was easier for everyday transactions and more in line with international standards. The 10-cent coin was introduced as part of this new decimal currency system. At that time, it replaced the 1 shilling coin, which had the same size and value equivalent. From then on, the 10-cent coin became a permanent part of Australia's everyday money. Design of the 1976 10-cent coin. The design of this coin is one of the most iconic in Australia's decimal currency series. Obverse, front. On the obverse side, we find a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This was the second official portrait used on Australian coins, designed by Arnold Machin, a British sculptor. The portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a famous royal tiara given to her as a wedding gift. The inscription reads, Elizabeth II Australia 1976, making it clear both where the coin comes from and the year it was struck. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984, so the 1976 issue falls right in the middle of this era. Reverse, back. The reverse side of the coin is just as interesting. It was designed by Stuart Devlin, who was the official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen. The reverse features a superb engraving of a lyrebird, a bird native to Australia and known for its incredible ability to mimic sounds. The lyrebird is shown standing gracefully, with its long tail feathers spread in an elegant display. Beneath it is the denomination, 10. This design has remained unchanged since 1966, making it one of the longest-running reverse designs in Australian decimal coinage. Specifications of the coin. Let's look at the physical details of the 1976 10-cent coin. Composition: 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silver-like appearance. Weight: 5.65 grams. Diameter: 23.6 millimeters. Thickness: 2 millimeters. Edge: milled, grooved edges. These specifications have remained consistent throughout the 10-cent coin's history. Mintage numbers. The 1976 10-cent coin was struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. That year, over 91 million coins were minted for circulation. This makes the 1976 issue one of the higher mintage years, meaning it's not particularly rare in general circulation. However, when it comes to coin collecting, condition matters a lot. While millions were made, finding well-preserved or uncirculated examples can be more challenging. Collectible value. Now, let's talk about what everyone wants to know. What is the value of a 1976 Australian 10-cent coin today? The answer depends heavily on the condition of the coin. Circulated coins, coins that have been used in everyday transactions, usually hold little more than face value, around 10 cents, because they are very common. High-grade circulated coins in very fine, VF, to extremely fine, EF, condition may fetch around 50 cents to $1 from collectors. Uncirculated coins, coins that have never been used and still retain their original mint luster, can be worth anywhere between $5 and $15 AUD. Proof coins, specially struck for collectors, can be worth even more depending on their condition and demand. Collectors value coins based on rarity, mintage, and condition, and while the 1976 10-cent coin isn't rare, pristine examples are always sought after. Errors and varieties. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is discovering mint errors. These are mistakes that occur during the minting process, and they can make a coin much more valuable. For the 1976 Australian 10-cent coin, some known error varieties include off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned; clipped planchets, where a part of the coin's edge is missing; die cracks or cuts, raised lines or lumps on the coin caused by a damaged die. These error coins are far rarer than normal circulation pieces and can fetch significantly higher prices depending on their type and severity. The lyrebird symbolism. The lyrebird on the reverse is not just decoration. It carries a deeper meaning in Australian culture. Lyrebirds are renowned for their mimicry skills, capable of imitating chainsaws, camera shutters, car alarms, and even human voices. They represent Australia's unique wildlife and the beauty of its natural environment. Stuart Devlin's choice to feature this bird reflects Australia's pride in its native fauna, a theme that continues across many of its coin designs. Collecting the 1976 10-cent coin. If you're building a collection of Australian decimal coins, the 1976 10-cent coin is a must-have. While it may not be rare or expensive, it is a piece of Australia's everyday history from the mid-1970s. Collectors often try to assemble complete sets of 10-cent coins from every year since 1966. In that context, the 1976 coin plays an important role. For those new to collecting, it's a great starting point, affordable, widely available, and still holding historical value. Current market value summary. To summarize, the current value ranges: face value, 10 cents, for circulation use, circulated condition, 10 cents to $1 AUD. Uncirculated condition, $5 to $15 AUD. Proof coins, higher, depending on rarity and demand. Error coins can reach $50 or more, depending on the error type. Final thoughts. The 1976 Australian 10-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II may be small, but it tells a big story. From its role in Australia's decimal currency history to its enduring lyrebird design, it is a coin that represents both tradition and national identity. While it isn't rare, it holds a steady place in collections and remains a favorite for many numismatists. So, next time you come across an old 10-cent coin, don't dismiss it as just pocket change. It might be a link to Australia's past, and in the right condition, it could be worth far more than you think. Next coin. The fascinating story of the 1969 Australian 50-cent coin, featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This coin is not only a part of Australia's decimal currency history, but it also carries collectible value that coin enthusiasts love to explore. So let's break it down: the history, the design, the mintage, and of course, the value of this coin today. Globe showing Asia. Australia. The background of the 50-cent coin. Australia officially switched to the decimal currency system on February 14, 1966, moving away from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. This was one of the biggest financial changes in the country's history. When decimalisation happened, the 50-cent coin was introduced to replace the old 10-shilling note. At first, the 1966 version of the 50-cent coin was made of 80% silver, but this turned out to be a big mistake. Why? Because the value of silver quickly rose above the face value of the coin. People began hoarding and melting them for profit. As a result, the silver 50 cent was withdrawn after only 1 year of production. From 1969 onwards, the Royal Australian Mint reintroduced the 50-cent coin, this time in copper-nickel alloy, making it more durable and practical for circulation. That brings us to the 1969 issue, one of the earliest non-silver 50-cent coins. Crown. The obverse, Queen Elizabeth II. The obverse, or heads side of the coin, features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait, introduced in 1966, shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a famous piece of royal jewellery. The design was used on many Commonwealth coins during this period and is instantly recognisable. The inscription around the Queen reads, Elizabeth II, and Australia 1969. This not only identifies the monarch but also confirms the issuing country and year of minting. Kangaroo. The reverse, Australia's coat of arms. In the reverse, or tails side, you'll find a stunning design created by Stuart Devlin, the goldsmith and jeweller who designed many of Australia's decimal coins. The design features the Australian coat of arms, with a kangaroo on one side and an emu on the other. Two animals that cannot walk backward, symbolizing a nation always moving forward. In the center is the shield containing 6 sections, each representing one of the 6 states of Australia. Above the shield rests the 7-pointed Commonwealth Star, also known as the Federation Star, symbolizing the unity of Australia's states and territories. The words 50 cents are inscribed below, making the denomination clear. Input numbers, mintage and rarity. Now, let's talk numbers. The 1969 50-cent coin had a mintage of about 14 million pieces, which is relatively low compared to later years when tens of millions were produced annually. This lower mintage makes the 1969 issue more collectible than some later coins, but it is not considered extremely rare. Still, its status as one of the earliest copper-nickel 50-cent coins adds historical importance. Money bag value of the 1969 Australian 50-cent coin. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of a 1969 Australian 50-cent coin depends heavily on its condition. Collectors grade coins on a scale ranging from circulated, heavily worn from use, to uncirculated, perfect mint condition, circulated condition. These coins are common and usually worth between $2 to $5 AUD, better grades. Extremely fine can fetch $8 to $12 AUD, uncirculated condition. Well-preserved examples can sell for $20 to $40 Australian dollars, sometimes more if graded by a professional service. Unlike the 1966 silver version, the 1969 copper-nickel coin does not have intrinsic precious metal value, but its collectible appeal makes it desirable for decimal coin sets. Chart increasing collectability and interest. Collectors often seek out the 1969 issue as part of building a complete set of Australian 50-cent coins. Since it's one of the first years of the copper-nickel type, it holds a special place in numismatic history. There are no widely recognized major errors for the 1969 coin, but collectors always keep an eye out for unusual misstrikes, doubling, or off-center strikes that can dramatically increase value. Another point of interest is that the round shape of the 50-cent coin was soon changed. In 1969, the coin was still round, but starting in 1969, Australia gradually transitioned to the iconic 12-sided dodecagon shape we know today. The shape change helped the coin stand out in circulation and reduced confusion with the 20-cent piece. This means the 1969 round 50 cent is among the last of its kind, adding even more historical appeal. Classical building. Historical context. Australia in 1969. To put things in perspective, let's remember what was happening in Australia in 1969. Australia was deeply involved in the Vietnam War, with troops actively serving overseas. The nation was experiencing strong economic growth, with manufacturing and mining expanding rapidly. The global event of the year was the Apollo 11 moon landing, which captivated Australians as much as the rest of the world. Owning a coin from 1969 is like holding a small piece of this remarkable era. Balance scale. How to check your coin if you happen to find a 1969 Australian 50-cent coin. Here are a few quick tips to check its value. 1. Look at the condition. Is it heavily worn, or does it still have sharp details? 2. Check for shine. Coins with original mint luster are worth more. 3. Inspect for errors. Any unusual markings or misstrikes could boost value. 4. Consider grading. If you believe your coin is uncirculated, professional grading could increase its market value. Direct it. Final thoughts. The 1969 Australian 50-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is a piece of history that represents the early years of decimal currency in Australia. While it may not be as rare or valuable as the 1966 silver 50 cent, it still has strong collector interest, especially in high grades. Its beautiful design, historical context, and role in Australia's currency transition make it a coin worth keeping. So next time you come across one, don't just think of it as spare change. It could be a little treasure in your collection. Backhand index pointing right. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed learning about the 1969 Australian 50-cent coin, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more coin history and value guides. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.